In today's world, we only watch the endings, a flashy success story or the brutal collapse. But we don't hear about the full journey that it took to get there. The late nights, tough calls, moments of doubt. On In Between Sips, we dive deep into the raw, unfiltered stories of what these business owners and leaders have been through and who they became along the way. So pull up a chair, pour a cup, and join us. We're just getting started. Because we all know the best conversations happen in between sips. Cheers, Steve. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Cheers, Ryan. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on. I know you're known as the arm wrestling realtor, multi-state arm wrestling champion realtor in Arizona, but thanks for carving out some time.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to hearing about the arm wrestling, of course. That's the meat and potatoes.
Subject.
Yeah. But let's get started early on. So born and raised here, Arizona, born and raised outside of Arizona. What's your story?
Yeah, outside of Arizona. I actually was born and raised, for the most part, in New Jersey. Long story. Yeah, back east. Long story short, my parents, as amicable as they were during my entire childhood, they divorced when I was 1.5 years old. So from birth until like 9, I was in New Jersey. And then my mom moved out to Arizona. I moved here with her. At 11, she looked at me and said, "Where do you want to live?" And I thought to myself, as a young man, my father is the only person that can make me into a man. So I moved back to Jersey from 11 to 15 and a half.
Oh, wow.
And then moved back here to help my mom with my 3 sisters. And I've been here ever since. So
That's awesome.
Arizona's now home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Answer me this. Pizza, bagels, is it really better back east?
There's no question.
No question. Is it in the water?
It's not even
is
close.
it in the air?
They say it's in the water,
yeah.
but it's in the poolish. It's in the poolish. It truly comes down to the dough and the way they make it, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I love how, side note, Dave Portnoy, I don't know if you follow him.
I do.
I love how he has redefined the grading scale of pizzas. It's hysterical if you think about it.
I find myself watching him all the time by accident. I'm
pizza.
just scrolling on Facebook or Instagram and I see Dave Portnoy and I'm like, I need to see what the rating is of this pizza over here.
Yeah, and when it started, I think it started off like he was just excited about pizza, right? And so it just goes to show, if you put in the work and you're consistent, yes, he had a huge company. Don't get me wrong. I get all the backing that he created before this, but the pizza conversation's always been funny to me. So I had to ask back east. I've been there once. The bagels definitely hit different for sure.
Taylor
pizza
ham,
was
egg, and
great.
cheese.
Yeah.
And the dirty water dogs. Can't forget about the dirty water dogs.
Oh, man. So you moved out here, adult, right? Did you always want to be a realtor? Kind of walk me through.
Man, it really wasn't in my thought process when I was a kid. I was always really good at speaking to people and creating relationships, I guess. I would, if I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for anything.
Yeah.
So straight in high school, I found myself working at car washes selling auto glass. And
you were that guy.
I was that guy. I was that annoying guy at the car. But you know what? And that's the thing, is that so many of them have such a bad rep because they are that annoying guy, right?
Yeah.
It's, you pull up to the car wash, you're there for a car wash. You're there for maybe to get your carpet shampooed or something, not to get a chip fixed in your windshield or get a windshield replacement. But fact of the matter is, it's your safety equipment, right? So if you explain to people how you're trying to help them and not sell them, that's when it really came down to you can make residual income at the car wash. And I created that over time. Being in the car wash industry for close to 15 years, I went from just selling auto glass to becoming an operations manager for multiple companies.
Wow.
And it was very lucrative, but I didn't love my job, because as much as I try to teach individuals how to help people and not sell people, you'll hear me say that a lot on this show, because I truly believe it.
Yeah.
If you do right by individuals, they will come back, right?
Oh, 100%.
And if it's just about selling and trying to put fast money in your pocket, which you can do in auto glass, if you fix a chip, you may make $25 or $30.
Yeah.
If you replace a windshield, you're making $100, $120. So if there's small little chips in your windshield and I can convince you to replace it, why not replace it? That's the mentality that a lot of these guys had. So after doing it for, I think, 5 years when I was running operations for the last company that I did, I moved on and started my own company out of one facility, and it was only me.
What company?
It was just Steve's Auto Glass.
Oh, it was literally auto glass.
It was literally my auto glass company.
Steve's Auto Glass.
Steve's Auto Glass, yeah. My buddy runs one of the top 3 gas stations in Arizona, off of Chaparral, the 101, Station Chevron.
Oh, wow.
And huge. 15,000 gallons a day that get pumped out of that facility.
Oh, my gosh.
It's really, really busy. So I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll come work as a W-2 employee. That way I get medical, dental, vision for my family, right?
Yep.
And I'll run my business out of here and I'll be able to help your clients. So I did that for quite some time. Mom had been in the industry of real estate for 12, 13 years already, I believe.
She's a mainstay. She's well known. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mainstay, yeah,
man. She's been killing it. And she went to all of her kids. I have 3 sisters from my mother and then myself. And she said, somebody has to get their license. I want to create some type of generational wealth. Yeah. And when I retire, and I was like, I don't love what I'm doing right now, so
you're good
why
at
not?
it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I got my license, and the first couple of years I was part-time in real estate.
Yep.
And after I lost my dad in 2018 to esophageal cancer, in 2019, they found a pineal mass in my mom's brain. And they weren't sure what it was. At first they were looking at brain surgery. And in my mind, I'm like, I already lost one parent. I'm not ready to lose another.
Yeah.
So it was a really fast decision of mine to say, I'm letting go of everything and I'm going full time into real estate. That way mom can do our transaction coordinating. She can stay behind a computer, go travel as much as she wants. She loves Hawaii. Go to Hawaii as often as you want to. Go see the family back east. Just enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Because it's so precious. We don't know how much time we have here. Now, luckily, it's been years and years now since then, and she's fine. We get it checked every year. Now it's bi-yearly, and it hasn't grown. It's not cancer. So,
awesome.
we've gotten very, very lucky, but that was the beginning of us becoming 50-50 partners in our business.
Wow. So you covered a ton of ground there, which I love.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's great. It's great. But it just makes me think if we could walk it back just a little bit and kind of move forward. So when you first started Steve's Auto Glass, you have a family, you have kids. Like, what was that moment like where you're like, did I make the right decision? Did you have any moments where you were just sitting back going like, how are we going to make this work? Or was it pretty gung-ho from the get-go? I mean, what did that first step into entrepreneurship look like? Because that was your first take on entrepreneurship, right? You were doing sales, but
sure,
you're on your own now.
Correct. I went from having a base salary and making, compensation off of commissions on top of that, and having a very comfortable life, to the rug was just pulled out, and it was like, I need to find a way. And I don't think I've ever really been scared of entrepreneurship. I think that I have a lot of belief in myself, and I know that when I put my mind to something, whether it's fasting, whether it's anything in life, once I tell myself I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So I don't think that there was a lot of fear, but more so uncertainty, if that makes sense. Yeah. So brand new thing. I just had to say, okay, let's go.
And you were married with kids at the time?
I was, yeah.
So what was that like? Kind of, obviously it's great. What was that like though, when you had those conversations, saying I'm going to step out onto my own? I mean, I think a lot of people always see the front end of it, the business end of it, but they don't ever see the personal lives behind it of entrepreneurship, and the wives that are there supporting, the kids that, everybody's providing for. Like, what were those conversations like?
The conversations with my wife were great because she's an extremely supportive person.
Awesome.
Danielle is amazing, man. I mean, I can't say enough about her. She came into my daughter's life when my daughter was 2 years old. And she took on the role of motherhood from that point. It was when my daughter was 11 that Danielle was actually able to legally adopt her as well.
Wow.
So she's just an amazing person. I couldn't be more blessed to have her in my life, and always super supportive. Once I told her what we were going to do, she just said, okay,
yep,
you got this.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's all going to be okay. And
awesome.
Every time that I've made a decision to try and better our situation in business and finance, she's always had my back 100%.
That's awesome.
So, and I won't say it was always easy. There were obviously trials and tribulations that we went through quite a bit. Yeah. I remember one specific time, I'll never forget this. And I think this leads into how much I love the freedom of real estate now, if you will. It's a lot of work, but we do get our freedom every once in a while. We kind of get to choose, where we want to go and what we want to do. But when I was running my own company, and I was also a W-2 employee, and then I was doing real estate part-time. So I had 3 things going at once. I can go work from 8 o'clock until 4 p.m., get off at 4, go show properties after that, not get home until really late.
Yeah.
Well, there was one day Danielle was working because she works part-time as well. And the kids had gotten home from school. They didn't have keys to the house. So they sat down in the driveway for 30 minutes and they saw me pull up, and I remember their faces.
Oh, wow.
and seeing my daughter's face, especially. My son was probably a little too young to really realize what was happening, but my daughter, the look of disappointment, and it was like, wow, I'm not thinking about the important things right now. Yeah, I understand that, trying to make a living and create, financial freedom is very important, and they'll get that when they get older, but I never want to see that look on my kid's face again for like, dad wasn't here. You know what I mean? So, figuring out a way to make the business work, was paramount.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, what a moment.
Yeah.
That definitely sinks in differently when that happens. And so then moving into real estate now, right? Being a realtor, mother-son team, as you say, right? Is that your official
the mother-son team?
The mother-son team. Walk me through what that transition's been like. You alluded to more freedom, certainly comes with its own set of challenges. I mean, walk me through one of those challenges. I'm sure in real estate, there's,
a ton,
an unlimited amount, right? But walk me through a couple of those.
I would consider myself the workhorse of the business, because that was the whole point of me coming on board, was to give mom a little bit more freedom and for her to enjoy her life, considering what she was dealing with when I first came on. And now we have so much fun together. I think that the most fun that we have is when we're making videos, for social media and just making jokes and this and that. But being the workhorse of the business, it makes me travel a lot, right? Yeah, I get to pick the hours that I'm gone, which is fantastic. But it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of driving all over the place. I bought my car 2 years ago with 15 miles on it. It has 82,000 miles on it right now.
But you're just a realtor in Arizona.
And I'm just a realtor in Arizona. Exactly.
In Maricopa, right?
Yeah. Well, we don't really limit ourselves on where we'll go for our clients.
That's cool.
As long as we can educate ourselves on the area and do the best to be a fiduciary for all of our clients, we will go to Prescott Valley. We'll go to Arizona City. We've gone to Show Low to sell properties. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's been quite the experience. I must say, being in the industry for about 7 years now, without mom, I would not know half of what I know now.
Yeah.
So she's definitely expedited my experience in the industry.
That's awesome. We'll make sure she watches this show too. All right. I'm just kidding.
You need to make sure she watches it. Hi, Mom.
That's awesome. So has there, in real estate, I know there's been a ton of changes recently. There's been some cultural shifts and changes. What have been some of the kind of nitty-gritty moments or tough moments within some of those changes that you are reflecting on? Obviously, you guys are successful, you're representing your clients well, but how have some of those changes affected the way you do business?
I look at everything as just communication and education, more so than anything. And that's the hardest thing, is being able to convey the information to individuals and have them listen, right? Because everybody has an aunt or an uncle or a parent that knows everything, even if they're not in the industry, right? So having to overcome those battles, because normally you listen to somebody that you trust, right? And you normally trust your family members. So when you're hearing it from an agent online, on social media, or face-to-face, if we're just meeting at a coffee shop, it's my job to make sure that I'm not trying to sell you on something. I'm trying to give you the best information possible and the most up-to-date information. So I try to be pretty clerical of myself, and make sure I'm giving the best information possible. I stay educated on it. And I would say that's probably the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle that I've had to overcome over time is the constant changes, in the industry, and just giving the best information to individuals possible. Yeah.
And I know in our industry, like AI is, a big tool, especially in the marketing and the sales industry. This is an interesting age we're entering, but you guys are no stranger to, I don't want to say AI, but the iBuyers, if you will, right?
Sure.
So I think it was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, there was a wave of this iBuyer movement. And so I feel like real estate has become very approachable for people, which is a great thing, right? It's at your fingertips. But then it's also speaks to like, okay, the need for a realtor amidst some of the new changes coming down, where you're having to get contracts now signed that you didn't have to before every step of the way. Like, it's almost like there's been this shift, maybe it's just me, but there's been this shift to try to, put more of the control in the buyers and the sellers' hands.
Absolutely.
Which isn't a bad thing to be empowered as a buyer seller. But walk me through how you were able to navigate, because a lot of those trends I feel like they're starting to die off. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of those trends that came are starting to now die off because people are yearning for a relationship again. They're yearning for that expert. Is that true? Am I way off?
No, I would agree with you 100%, Ryan. I would. Yeah. I feel like there's two different types of agents out there still, even if we're personal individuals, right? And with the iBuyers or with the internet sales coordination that they had with Open Door or with Zillow or whoever it was, right? It was all transactional, right? And there are agents out there that are simply transactional.
Here's the estimate. Take it or leave
That's it.
If you want to take it, I'll represent you. If you don't, and that's what iBuyers represent. I should have expounded for people that aren't in the industry, but
no,
that's
you're good.
Zillow, right? Was it Trulia? They got
Trulia
out,
was
though,
one
right?
of them. Yeah,
they merged. Is Redfin still a predominant force? Okay, but there's also other iBuyers that are just backed by big investment companies that are stroking checks, right? So that's what. Okay, thanks for walking
trying to make
that.
the situation absolutely, yeah, trying to make the situation as easy as possible for people, but there is no relationship there, so you don't feel like you're getting the answers. You're not getting the emotion that you need because it's one of the largest transactions that people are ever going to make in their lives, right? So I feel like it has to be relational. You know, I don't know, man. I couldn't do this job if I didn't care about people.
Yeah.
You know, I really couldn't. And I always want to have their best interest in mind. I take being a fiduciary as a very, very serious thing, right? You're trusting me with one of the biggest transactions you're ever going to make in your life. I better give you 110% of myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What are some of the common hurdles you've had to navigate, though? Not just common questions, right? Because I think people can look online for that. But like you personally in the business, like what have been some of the hurdles that you've had to help people overcome that you never thought you would have to help out with?
Man, I mean, I think it just comes to pointing them in the right direction, you know, and giving structure to the situation itself. Yeah. Most people don't know where to start. You know, even if they jump online, they're just reading words. They're not hearing it from someone that has done it 100 times, 200 times for different people over the course of 7 years. And I think it just comes to pointing them in the right direction, understanding step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4, and just know that I'm here for you through step 1 until we get to step 2. And then when we get to step 3 and then to step 4, first off comes down to just getting them pre-qualified and verifying if they can make their dream a reality.
Yeah.
Right. And once you call it that, I feel like it's really important for them. You say turning your dream into a reality. They're like, oh wait, this is real.
Yeah.
You know, and then you start feeling the emotion from them also. And like I said, sales is one thing, but helping people is another. And I don't think that I've ever enjoyed something as much as after handing off keys to someone, you know, 6 to 8 weeks down the road when they're all settled in their home. Yeah. And they call you up and they say, hey, come over for the family barbecue.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you get to meet their family and friends. And they're like, oh, this is Steve. This is Angela. You know, these are the individuals that made this happen for us. It's a feel-good moment.
You've been invited to like family barbecues post-sale?
Absolutely.
See, I've done that, but it's because, you know, my mother-in-law is the realtor. So like,
yeah. Yeah, no, man. Again, it's all about the relationships.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So you're walking down the real estate road now. When did this interest, because I really want to dig into this.
Yeah.
Many people don't know this about you. Well, maybe they do if they follow you on social media, but you are the multi-state arm wrestling champion for Arizona and Colorado?
Colorado at the moment, yes. I have to go defend my title on August 23rd in Colorado.
What in the world? When did this come about?
So, you know, it's always been a family thing. You know, my dad...
Arm wrestling's always been a family thing?
Always been a family thing.
Was that like that funny meme that's like, I hope I marry into a family that doesn't like to run? Like, because they sign up for Thanksgiving. I saw that meme. I was laughing because my in-laws love to run. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I like to run. But but your family is like marrying into a family of arm wrestlers?
There is not one family get-together where my Uncle Simos or my father, when he was around, were not arm wrestling somebody. Yeah,
no
it was always me and my Uncle Simos for the most part, you know. He was just... My dad used to tell me stories about him when they were young. You know, he was this 5'8", 180-pound guy that would go to bars and arm wrestle super heavyweights and just slam them to the ground like it was nothing. And I was always very intrigued by how the small guy, and mind you, I'm the tallest guy on my mom's side, but I'm the smallest guy on my dad's side. My dad was 6 foot, his brother's 6'3", 6'4". I'm sitting at 5'10" in boots, and that's because my mom is 4'11", right? But my uncle was just always so good at it, man. And growing up 16, 17, 18 years old, I'm like, I should be able to beat him. And I couldn't touch the guy.
Really?
Forever.
I just love the name Uncle Simos.
Uncle
It just sounds like
Simos.
this folklore.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like this, like, who's this legendary guy?
He was incredible. He was, you know, and it was always a fun thing. But then after my dad passed, my uncle found a tournament. It was at the Roadrunner in New River, actually, Arizona.
Yeah.
And he's like, Steven, you have to do this in remembrance of your dad. Right.
Wow.
So I was like, let's go, let's go have some fun. It'll be fun. We'll have some beers. We'll arm wrestle. We'll see what happens. Well, I placed with both arms. And
so it's your first event have you been to a tournament before?
Never been to a tournament. I mean, I watched the movie Over the Top a few times growing up.
Great movie.
Great movie.
If you don't know that movie, you got to watch it.
And funny
enough,
enough,
let's go.
You have to watch it. I mean, Sylvester Stallone does a fantastic job, but once you actually get into the mix of arm wrestling, you realize a lot of the guys in that movie were real arm wrestlers, right?
Oh, really?
That movie was based on John Brzezink's real life, and he is the GOAT, the Michael Jordan of arm wrestling.
Really?
Uh-huh.
The only scene that comes to mind, like immediately all the time, is when he's like training in the diesel.
Oh,
he's like
slamming down, pressing.
driving. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't realize that was based on him though.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
he's in the movie, actually. He's the younger, blonde, bowl cut, haircut guy in there with a big smile. He didn't go into the finals in the movie or anything else, but a lot of Cobra Rhodes was in the movie as well.
What a name.
Yeah, man.
Cobra Rhodes.
And it was all about how he cupped to
Cobra.
make the Cobra. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
my gosh.
But yeah, so that started it. Yeah, I went to this tournament. I placed. I had a couple of guys in different circuits that were calling me and saying, hey, come train with us. And at the time, I'm like, I'm a realtor. I don't have time to arm wrestle.
Yeah.
It's.
But I'm also picturing like the training as like these like underground, like dark, desolate places where people are just arm wrestling. It's not the case, I bet, but it's just funny.
You
think about like
in some cases. In some cases.
Really? Walk us through that.
We have a guy named Eric Wolf, and he is absolutely a veteran in the sport. He's been arm wrestling just as long as John Brzezinski. I want to say that Eric is like 50. He's in his 50s. I'm not going to call him out in his actual age right now, but he's in his 50s. And mind you, he can still beat me. And yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And so he was an engineer in the Navy for a very, very long time. And you go to his house in Mesa, and his one-car garage, you open it up, and it is just a whole bunch of different builds that he's done, different mechanical engineering things that he's done for arm wrestling. So it is like the lair.
Wow.
You want to see Batman's lair? This is Batman's lair for arm wrestling.
Really?
It is absolutely incredible, dude. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So after that tournament, I'm getting these calls. It took 3 years. So it wasn't until July of 2022 where my buddy Martin, who I used to work with at the car wash selling autoglass, calls me up and he's like, Steve, you need to come to this arm wrestling practice. Just come. The guy's name is Scott West. I'm like, wow, he has the same last name as me. I'm a little intrigued now, So I go to this guy's house. Martin doesn't show up. He invites me and doesn't show up.
Is that MO for him or no?
No.
Okay,
that's
so
not.
something was odd.
I think it was just him trying to get me set up, So, and it was crazy too. I walk into this guy's house, super inviting, one of the sweetest guys I've ever met in my life. Him, his wife, his son, great family.
You still walked into his house though. Let's just rephrase.
Still walked into his house.
Your buddy that invited you there doesn't show and you're like, yeah, I'm still going to meet this guy.
Mm-hmm.
All for the sake of arm wrestling.
All for the sake of arm wrestling. Let's see what it's all about. Yep. And he's got 20-inch arms, right?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not worried about this. I've taken guys down that are over 300 pounds at the bar, like no big deal. And we grip up and he's like, all right, go ahead and go. And I went and I got stonewalled, meaning I could not move this guy at all. And I was
his family around or people around or is just you and
No, his wife actually dabbles in powerlifting and they're all
like a
about
family
it.
affair. You just walked into a house and just gripped up and
just grip and rip. Yeah, let's see what happens. And he's like, okay, you're going sideways a lot. He's talking to me while I'm redlining. I'm just going as hard as I can and I can't move him. And he's talking. He's like, okay, stop going sideways. Go backwards a little bit. I'm like, what do you mean backwards? And I was so intrigued by the way that he was trying to teach me, coming from an MMA background, back in the day.
You did MMA too?
I did. I loved MMA so much, man. I wanted to do it as a profession when I was growing up.
Really?
Yeah, I did. But car accident in 2010 took me out of it, long story short. Finding arm wrestling and understanding that it reminded me so much of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because it's not about just going sideways like we did at bars or like we did in school, right? It truly is mechanical, and it's about finding the levers, the angles that you need to use to beat your opponent. Somebody could be much stronger than you, and you can still beat them on the table if you're smart, right, and technical. So me being the guy that, like, I don't put my feet in the water. I jump all the way in the pool when I'm intrigued by something. I looked at Scott and I said, okay, man, like, how often are we going to meet up now? And how often are you going to train me and teach me how to do this? So that started the entire journey.
That's incredible to also think about when you're describing it. Like, not only is he stonewalling you, but now he's like coaching you through it. Like, there's a different level of man there. That, like,
oh man,
like, I'm going to coach you through it while you're not moving and you're going full force. Like, I can't even imagine.
You want to know how good of a coach he is, man? We had a tournament in Cave Creek at Harold's not too long ago. It was in the summertime, right before it got too warm. And he shows up, and him and I, we ended up on the table together, left arm, and I beat him.
Really?
And it all came down to his coaching.
Wow.
Really. I mean, it came down to his coaching. It came down to other coaches that I have now as well, since I've kind of moved in the circuit, you know, from a backyard arm wrestler to now doing state championships, traveling internationally for different tournaments and stuff. It's definitely translated into a different thing, but he's such a good dude. Like, after the match was over, he gave me a big hug. We cried. Like, it was like, man, thank you so much for teaching me everything that you did and getting me to this level.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty
So you said internationally too? Where have you competed at internationally?
I went to Manchester. I went to UK.
Oh, wow.
I had a match on Arm Wars. So Arm Wars is run by Neil Pickup. Huge legend in the sport. I mean, he's been around for quite some time. He's amazing. Does one of the best productions that there are in arm wrestling, for sure. And they're pay-per-view events that he puts out on YouTube and everything else.
No way.
Yeah, my buddy Tim Talmadge with Arm Sports Entertainment, that's my team now, who I'm with. He's been in the sport for a little over 20 years, and he's younger than me. He's 35. He started when he was 15.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's incredible at the sport too. And he has all the relationships in the world. That's why I love the guy, because he truly is about the relationships, you know, and he wants to meet everyone, know everyone, see how he can help everyone. So him and I have been working together now for about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's the one that got me the invite onto Arm Wars. So I went out there and I had a best of 5 right arm one day and best of 5 left arm the next day, and spent 4 or 5 days in London. It was incredible.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I did well. So I learned from my experience, I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So my opponent was much bigger than me. It wasn't like a weight class match, the way that the majority of the state championships and other tournaments that I do are all weight classed. But this was not.
It's like old school UFC. Kind of. It's like there's no weight classes, no holds bar.
I mean, they want to kind of keep it close, I guess. You know, I was about 190 at the time, and my opponent was about 210. He's 6'2".
Yeah.
Again, I'm 5'10", so he had a much longer lever than mine, and he had 5 years experience in the sport, where I had about 2.5.
Yeah.
Right hand, he beat me 5-1, and it was until the next day when I was around these world champion arm wrestlers, right? And mind you, here in the North, or in the West, if you will, we don't pay the athletes the same way that, you know, Europe does. And
oh, really? It's like a huge sport over there?
It's a big sport out there. Yeah. Some of these guys, like Hermes Gasparini out of Italy, all he does is arm wrestle. He doesn't have another job.
Really?
That's it. Yeah. Devin Lara out of Canada. I mean, you got all these different guys that all they do is arm wrestle, and their governments pay for them to do that, you know, and they're able to train and compete and on that salary that they make. Yeah. Pretty insane.
That's nuts. That hasn't made its way to America in full force like that. I mean, I can't believe the power slapping made it bigger than arm wrestling. Like, what in the world is that mess? Like,
don't get me started on that, Ryan. I have a hard time, because it's funny. Like, when you talk about arm wrestling with individuals, they always bring that up. They're like, "Oh, what about the power slap?" I'm like, dude, as a grown man, that has a little bit of a background in mixed martial arts, I couldn't imagine putting my hands behind my back and allowing a man to fully open hand smack me in the face.
It's like the ultimate sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
And their faces at the end of it are just...
You're asking for a concussion.
I was going to say, it can't be that. Like,
it's not.
At least MMA is regulated. You know, people tap out. You still get knocked out, but it's not repeated.
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
It just seemed like all the worst parts of boxing and MMA and whatever else came together was like, let's make a sport out of it and call it power slapping.
And I think that their whole structure on it was people love seeing knockouts, right? So let's give the people what they want to see.
Jeez.
I get that. I understand how watching a 2-minute arm wrestling match, which is a very, very long arm wrestling match. 2 minutes is very long.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
How long do they normally go?
5 to 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. So
5 to 10 seconds.
Have you been in some quick. 2 minutes?
I've been in a war that was probably like a minute and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, a minute and a half was a long time for me. But you watch some guys, from some guys that have really, Jerry Cataract comes to mind. And I think he's been in like 6-minute bouts on pay-per-view events. And unless you actually understand the intricacies of arm wrestling, you're just watching two guys redline on a table and wondering who's going to pin the other guy's wrist. You don't understand transitioning from a top roll to a hook to a press to all these different things that you need to do. Again, that's why I got so intrigued by it, because it reminded me so much of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Just different components, understanding where to pull, finding your opponent's weakness.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to distract you from power slapping. Please continue.
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, I won't be doing the power slapping. I know some guys that have transitioned from arm wrestling into power slapping, actually. Steven, I'm going to forget his last name right now, but he's out of California, a big arm wrestler, and they call him the Grizzly, actually. And he just won the power slapping championship this year.
Really?
Yeah, he beat Tim Sylvia, who was an old UFC fighter.
Tim
Sylvia.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's full circle.
Knocked him out.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was
Pretty
like
insane.
one of the greats too in MMA.
He was,
so for him to go
6'7", I
power
think.
slapping and get knocked down, like
Hey, Dana White, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh man. So what have been some of the moments though? Obviously you seem to be a very competitive individual in a good way, right? Even on the real estate side, you're like, hey, I'm relationship first, going to be tenacious. What were some of the moments in the arm wrestling world? I almost said power slapping world. In the arm wrestling world where you look back and you're like, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I recently had one actually because I just changed weight classes. Over my journey of 3 years in arm wrestling now competitively, I realized that when you really need to be in good shape, and when I started, I was about 220 pounds, 225 pounds. And these guys come into an arm wrestling event the same way that MMA fighters go into a fight.
Really?
You cut weight, you make weight, and then within 24 hours, you're putting 10 to 15 pounds back on. So if I'm going to the table at 220, I'm going against guys that are 6'5", 235. And I'm sitting here like, what am I doing against this guy? So then I transitioned down to 209, then down to 198. And even at 198, I'm like, these guys are weighing 210, 215 when they come to the table, and they're still much larger than me. I'm not that big of a human being. I need to keep on cutting and getting stronger as I lose the weight. So I cut down to 187 pounds. That's when I won Colorado State last year. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see the change, And
I didn't realize there was weight classes for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're doing the whole cutting, sweating, towels, all that stuff, weighing, and then putting all, wow.
I just started for Colorado State this year too, because again, I have about 2.5 weeks until that. And I'm walking around like 188, 189 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make 176. So, and I will. That won't be a problem. I'll do a water load the last week and I'll lose 10 pounds in the last week and it'll be fine. And then I'll come to the table the next day at 185.
What's your go-to meal after you get the weigh-in to put it back on?
As much as I would love to say I chow down on pizza and burgers and stuff like that, it has to be something that is easily digestible. Sushi.
Oh.
That's my go-to.
That's awesome.
Give me like 6 plates of sushi, dude. the sashimi, all of it. I'm just wrecking
You're in
bunch
heaven?
of fish. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
so funny.
absolutely.
I never thought about that, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I made my first 176-pound debut at Arizona State this year. And I wasn't sure who was going to show up. Arizona State, as much as it is a state competition, and I would say that the majority of arm wrestlers around the country look at it as an international tournament because we had 15 states and 8 countries come to Arizona State.
Really? In our backyard?
In our backyard.
Wow.
It's probably the top 4 when it comes to national tournaments run by Armed Sports Entertainment. It's absolutely incredible.
I'm an ASU alum and I didn't even know this.
Right?
Now I feel like I should.
Yeah.
I need to be more informed.
It was actually out there in the East Valley too, in Chandler.
Oh, at the
So
is it Polytechnic campus or?
no. It was at the Arizona State. It's not ASU. It was just Arizona State
Oh,
Championship. It was at the Crown Plaza
I thought
in
they were like
Chandler.
hosting or something. Never mind.
No,
Okay,
they
so
didn't
I'm
host
still
it. Yeah.
fairly informed. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. But when I got there, I'm talking to all the guys, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And then I had a friend come up and tell me, "Hey, you got the Canadian national champion here. His name is Alex Kurdyukov. He's originally from I'm gonna mess it up. Where is he originally from? Ukraine. He's from Ukraine originally. Both arm national champion out of Canada, and then also won the Arnold Classic this year here in the States. Both arms.
And so you knew because he's in Ukraine, you're already thinking he grew up in a lifestyle of this because it's so big over there and in Canada.
Exactly. He tells me he's been arm wrestling for 17 years. And I'm like, okay, well, you only get better in this sport because it's not so much a muscle sport. It's more of a tendon and ligament sport. And you know, when you go to this, when you start working out, you're sore for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, you're just fatigued, right? It's different with arm wrestling. Once you start hitting the table and you start working the certain tendons and ligaments that you need to, you're sore for 2 years. It's not until after the second year that you're like, okay, after 3 days of training or after training, I can wait 3 days and then jump back on a table again. But you're not doing it the next day.
Wow.
Still, even after 2 years. So 17 years into the sport, this guy, and he looks like a monster, you know, you can just, you can tell, and everyone's coming up to me and saying, this guy's mega. And I said, okay, what should I do?
I'm just picturing like Rocky IV right now with the mention just on. It's like, you know, the Ivan Drago walks in and you're standing there, you're Rocky, of course, you know, because that's who you are, right? Come on. And
I'll take it.
And it's like he walks in just like a machine, a robot, a specimen.
Very much so, with the accent and all. Yeah. Super nice guy. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
But everyone's looking at me and saying he's mega, you know, and I said, okay, well, what do I do? And they said, hold on. And just
hold
go
on.
for a ride. And I'm like, get out of here, man. Is he really that good? And so we go left arm first, and I go 0-2 left arm. I don't know what happened. And it's a two-loss tournament. So you lose 2, you're out. That's it. So I go 0-2, and I literally had to go put myself in my hotel room for like 15 minutes and slow my heart rate down and say, look, you've worked too hard to lose the weight, to make it to this weight class.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people, you know, and the left arm is the party arm. You know what I mean? It's a fun one to pull with. I'm normally pretty good with it, but this time I just got blown out. And Alex was one of the guys that beat me left arm. And now I'm thinking, man, if he's that good left arm, I can't imagine how good he is right arm. And when I came back in, I looked at everyone and said, I'm not losing another match. I'm just letting you all know right now, I'm not losing another match. And I went up on that table and ran through every person, including Alex. And that was my Rocky moment, for sure. That was my Rocky moment. Because the second we gripped up, and we were both top rollers, meaning we go outside instead of inside. Mm-hmm. So we slipped. Both of our hands ended up slipping through each other. And when that happened, they then tie you up in a strap, right? So now there's no going away.
Now the everything's just building now,
you're
right?
tied to me now. You're not going anywhere. And when I pinned him, I screamed out loud, man. You heard the crowd going nuts, and it was like, this is crazy. And a great opponent in you know, victory and in losses. Him and I trained a lot afterwards. We become really good friends on social media. Yeah, and we look forward to having another match down in the future.
That's awesome. Had he ever been beaten before, though, like that?
I can't say that I've seen him beaten out of all the videos that I found on him, because when you go against somebody and you realize that you're going to have another super match with them down the road, you really want to study that individual and see how he pulls, right? Because there are so many different intricacies in pulling, and every match, every tournament I saw him go to, he's running through people, everyone, 2 gold medals on his chest at the end of the day. Wow. And yeah, it was pretty incredible. It was definitely eye-opening because you look at yourself, and I try very hard to stay as humble as possible in the sport, because I know there's so much learning to still be done. There's so much growth that's still going to come along with it that I'm nowhere near where I want to be in 5 years. Yeah, I did have a 3-year plan. I have a 5-year plan. I have a 10-year plan in the sport. And hopefully it all comes together, right? And God willing, I don't get injured, you know, which does happen quite a bit in arm wrestling. But I've been very, very fortunate so far. You know, again, God willing, it continues. But yeah, man, I have not seen him lose. I have not seen him lose.
Wow, what a moment.
Yeah, it was quite the
I think
moment.
you have that video too. So what we'll do is we'll kind of edit that video in because
Yeah.
that was a cool video to see and to see the emotion of it. But yeah, the strap in, that was the moment. Like I was like, oh,
that was the one. Shout out to my boy
real.
Greg Brown that made that. He made that video for me. I was like, oh man, you got Joe Rogan in there and everything going nuts. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're the man. Thank you.
Awesome.
It was quite awesome.
So kind of full circle now back to real estate. I heard a rumor. Is it true that like with all your clients though, because of your arm wrestling background now, like if they pin you, you knock a percentage off your commission, but if you pin them, you put a percentage on? Is that what you're doing now, or is that just a rumor?
That's totally a rumor.
That
That's totally a rumor. I don't know that my broker would allow me to do that. Let's make sure that's clear. The brokers are the ones that set the commission rate. I know. For all you fans out there. No, but I will tell you, man, arm wrestling has played a huge role in my business, actually, also.
Really?
Surprisingly, yes, man. I was never really looking for it, but we all have nicknames, right? And I'm like, man, how can I integrate? Because again, with my social media platforms, I don't separate my personal and my business. I want everyone to know exactly who I am and who they're getting, right? And because there's 55,000 agents in Arizona. Why are you choosing the mother-son team, right? There has to be a reason for that.
Yeah.
And normally it comes down to commonality. And that commonality in arm wrestling has brought us clients. I mean,
I would say that niche probably runs super deep. Yeah.
It does, man. It really does. Because I don't think that even in MMA, in all the sports that I've played growing up, I don't think that there has been the same type of camaraderie as there is in arm wrestling. Like, yeah, when we go to the table and we're about to face each other, I'm trying to rip your arm off and you're trying to do the same to me. But afterwards, it's all love. It's all friends trying to learn from each other and support each other. And I don't think there's 1%, not even a percent in the arm wrestling community that are bad grapes.
Really?
I really don't, man. And 2 years ago at Arizona State, I did well. I didn't place at all, but I did pretty well. And people saw me, and I got a phone call 2 days after Arizona State from a gentleman. His name is Cody. And his first and last name sound very familiar. Like I went to high school with a kid that had the first and same last name. And I thought that's who it was. And I'm like, oh man, it's been a long time. How you doing? And he goes, yeah, no, I just saw you this weekend at Arizona State. And I'm like, oh yeah, Cody, great to talk with you, man. So as I'm talking with him, God, I hope he watches this.
Yeah.
As I'm talking with him, I'm looking him up on Facebook, and I recognize him, and I'm like, oh, I know this guy, And he's like, yeah, great job, I saw you did really, really well, but I also heard that you're a realtor. And I'm like, well, yeah, I am. I'm one half of the mother-son team. We've been in business. We help people around. And he goes, yeah, I have a property that I'm looking to sell. And it ended up being $1 million property in Show Low.
Wow.
And fast forward over a year now, we're about to list a second property for him in Chandler. That's going to be a multi-million-dollar property as well. So he's not the only one. I think that we've helped between 6 and 8 arm wrestlers over the last 3 years of me being in the sport buy or sell properties.
Wow.
And going back to the nicknames, we all have nicknames in arm wrestling. And mine, to integrate the two together, was the closer.
Nice.
So Steve, the closer, West.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Because it's funny. The majority of guys in this sport, they've been masonries. They've been working with bricks. They're contractors, constantly working with their hands. And they see my hands, which is really my strength. Yeah. And they're like, where do you get it from? And I was like, oh, I just sell houses, dude. Nothing special. I guess I flip houses.
Yeah.
But...
I'll be looking out for that ad soon. That's awesome. Steve, the closer West.
Steve, the closer West.
Man. Yeah. Before we wrap up too, I always like to ask this question. If you could give, and not just one piece of advice, I know we hear that all the time. What's one piece of advice? But like truly, like from all your learning, both on the personal end, with the family, going through entrepreneurship, now where you're at, now with personal hobbies that are becoming into your business niche because you're not separating the personal and the business, which I think like everybody really needs to heed that.
Yeah.
I think so many people try to separate the two, but your integrity is your integrity. Who you are is who you are in all spectrums of your life.
100%.
So like along that vein though, like what is a piece of advice that you would give to other business owners or entrepreneurs out there? Like what's something that you've lived by that has driven you?
I'll have to give it to my broker, John Crow.
Right? Oh yeah.
I got to give it to
Nice.
John because John says it best, and I truly live by it. And it's all about the relationships.
Yeah,
it is. And if you're just genuine as a person,
yep.
right? I don't want to trick people into liking me. You know, if you don't like me, that's okay. Like you're not going to be liked by everyone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But if you're a genuine individual and you're all about the relationship and you're all about helping that person and putting that person before your own ambitions,
yeah,
it's going to end up working out for you.
I love it.
You know, it does. It all comes back full circle. And yeah, that's really it, man.
Yeah, I love it. Well, he's no stranger to the show either, right? He was on the inaugural launch for a reason.
Yeah.
The wise mentor, soothsayer, guy that runs Arizona, even though he won't ever say that, right?
I know.
But that's cool
though.
That's cool to bring it full circle there too.
Yeah.
And that's great advice. You know, businesses, relationships, serve first, right? You always have to serve first, right?
Absolutely.
So that's great. Well, thanks for coming on, the closer. Look forward to seeing you out there.
Are we going to show everyone our new handshake?
Oh yeah, let's show the new handshake. All right, you come in. Oh. I'm glad I got to do that.
Every
Thanks.
time he gets me.
Yeah. Well, trust me. I think you're taking it way too easy on it, but I'll take it.
Appreciate you, Ryan. Thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks for coming on, Steve.
Yeah, it's a good time. All right.
So
now that's okay because I can have it here. Yeah, that's good. That's
so
good.
We're gonna give this a go.
Okay.
All right. I'm coming at you with everything I got, Steve.
So he's a lefty. We're gonna go lefty.
All right. I'm coming at you with everything I got. Let me see if I can position some mic. Okay, here we go.
All right.
I think I'm already like way off.
That's okay.
Let me just.
You want to dig deep in there, right?
Come on. Let me just do this.
Okay.
All right. I've been training for the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I knew you were ready for it.
All right, you call it.
Go. Okay. So a lot of sideways.
So
think about a tug of war. Like you see how hard you're gripping my arm right now with your fingers?
Oh yeah.
You're giving me a lever of where I want to pull.
Okay.
You see what I mean? So think about that. Think about a tug of war at the table, almost like pull backwards. That's much better pressure.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, see, because then you can go through my fingers, and if your wrist is strong enough to find the different capabilities, right?
He's so good. So good. Oh, come on. I want you to give it to me now. I want to see the Steve the closer West, all right?
I'll go slow.
Go slow. Yeah, go slow, but I want to see
and I want to keep you safe.
If I can hold you.
Okay.
All right. Ready? Go.
Go.
It was so easy. It's like 3 seconds. Was it even like a second? Like,
that's normally how long arm wrestling matches go.
Oh my gosh.
3 to 5 seconds.
Dude, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.